you guys need to get a permit. We came to them and says, we have a solution. Forget about the water you've taken over all the years and haven't paid us, because that was one of the things the old board tried to collect some money on. Let's move forward, and here's an area that we can agree. We all need water. So the plan we came up with was basically each court, for the pumps they have, some have one pump, some have two pumps, would be charged $2,500 for a meter. This meter would then go to a computer, so we can daily monitor the water that's coming out of the lakes, and we can tell someone if they're using more than they're supposed to, less, or whatever the numbers are. But this way we can control the water usage of the fountains. $2,500 one-time charge. Then we said we would like you to split the costs of maintaining the water. Electricity for the pumps, cleaning up of the lakes, a few other miscellaneous things. We had the exact bills on the paper. It came to roughly $1,000, ready for this, a year. Some people thought it was a month. A year per court. Scott thought it was a great proposal. We talked about it. We said the next thing we'd like to do is talk to your presidents and make this presentation to them. A couple of weeks go by. We don't get the meeting. I requested it again. He said he's working on it. And then we go to one of our meetings with our engineers, and we found out that Scott Harris was on his own applying for his own well, which is what he encouraged the northern courts to do. So the bottom line is the northern courts decided it was better to spend $30,000 to dig a well than spend $2,500 for the meter for their pumps. And when I asked one of the northern presidents, why are you doing this? Why wouldn't you do the deal we're talking about? Well, we can't trust the country club because that $1,000 a year can go up. Well, the bottom line, the $1,000 was based on exact bills we received, so I don't see electricity bills going up more than 2, 3%, 4%, whatever the number is. So that's where we stand with the water. Now, what's going to happen? Getting permits in Palm Beach County is probably one of the most arduous tasks you have to go through. I've been on a committee that's been meeting for a year and a half, working on permits. We have, 12 of our 14 through now? The one that's still not through is the water usage from South Florida Water, because they're waiting for a final number, which we gave them last week. We were told once they have that number, they'll approve our permit for water usage within about a week or two. So we're there. We're going to get approved this week or next. My water group meets every Thursday, which will be day after tomorrow at 4 o'clock. When we are approved for the water, by the way, the southern courts, other than Milan and Marseille, which didn't need to do this because they take water directly out of the canal, all the other southern courts have agreed to our proposal and are joining us in the our joint effort. We will give the North, once we get approved, 30 days notice, and we will be shutting off the water to those courts that are basically illegally taking water out of our lakes. So, not drinking water. This is irrigation water. Drinking water you get from your house. This is the irrigation water. I'm not going to make, but we've been talking to them. They know this is coming. This is not. It won't be a surprise. We having fun yet? But that's it. And I can give you other instances with the FCO. I don't have to go through all the details. We'd love to agree. I'd love to live in cooperation, but this is how this place was set up. And there's a lot of distrust. What can I say? I'm going to get a slide on the. Gotta get the slide up for the rumors pretty soon. Okay. I also want to let you know that in our effort to meet everyone, the committee that's working on development met with Anthony Rangione and his group and spent a morning with them and listened to their proposal, and we understand it now pretty well, and we put it in there with one of the, I don't know, 6 or 7 we've got in the middle right in the grouping right now that we're discussing, but we did meet with them. And here again, in an effort to continue to meet with everyone, Ron spent time with Stuart Levine and answered all his financial questions directly and went through the finances with him. So we are reaching out, and whoever wants to talk to us, I'm listening, because I'll listen to any proposal. Let's talk Can-Am. Well, the first thing I'm going to say in Can-Am before I start my talk, think $635,000. Because that's the amount of money we expect to get from them next year, and they're on target, by the way, towards our budget. It's a real number. But are we having problems? Sure we are. I want to let you know, when a Can-Am person comes here to play golf, They sign an affidavit. The affidavit says, use valet parking, use the locker room, adhere to Fountains Country Club rules on the golf course, and if you live anywhere in the Fountains, you're not entitled to play golf. Now, we know that's not being followed because I've heard there's some people who live in the north who have been playing. It's kind of tough to enforce this one without your help. Because if someone comes in and shows a driver's license from New Jersey and says, I don't live here, how can they stop them from playing? I know for a fact at this point, 2 people have been blackballed by Can-Am because not following our rules. And Can-Am has told us, give them the names of the people that live here and that are abusing the policy, and they'll remove them from the list. So we need your help. Just go to management, email them quietly so you don't have to know who they are. If you want to do it anonymously, drop a note on Sean's desk, and we'll take care of the fact that these people, we need to help police, we need to help our management. But Can-Am wants their people to follow our rules. And the other thing I want to talk about, and Sean will be talking about some of this too, is that we control their tee-off times, not them. And Sean basically 2 days before gives them a list of what times are available. So we still control Can-Am, and any problems we're having, let management know, and we're going to try to fix it. But once again, I'm going to remind you, $635,000 to the budget, or as Ron says, 60 members. It's the equivalent of having 60 members here. It's not something anybody on the board wanted, but when we saw the budget, we saw the numbers, the board unanimously voted, along with Sean, who actually vetoed it in the beginning, that it's something we needed for now. And the bottom line is our courses have never been busier in the afternoon. We have golfers in the afternoon now. Never had that before. So that's Can-Am. What else? Another brighter note, I play golf here. Not as often as I used to because some guy keeps calling me into meetings. But think about me. I played on Veterans Day. I don't know who else in this room was here at most of you must have been here on Veterans Day because some of us played golf. There's about 100 of us. And we had a great dinner out in the lounge. But the good news was there was 200 people in the dining room that day. So when we had an event in a long time that brought 300 people to one event here at the country club, and we had no complaints. People had a good time, except for some confusion with tables in the beginning, but that we got over. We just had another great day here at the Fountains. And look about next Friday night's, dinner dance. Sold out. When's the last time you heard us tell you an event is sold out? This is the stuff that's happening. I appreciate you guys coming out, doing more, spending money. Sean's going to give you the participation in our dining. It's up. Can it be up more? Sure. Our food is good. Our service is good. I believe the Fountains is back. If you haven't tried us, please do. I want to personally thank all of you who have stepped forward and given us some extra cash. Whether it was a few $100s, a few thousand, it's been appreciated because our cash flow is surviving. We always said we had to make it through November. Today is November 17th, so we're halfway through November and we're still here. Looking good because you'll be hearing the dues, which will come out December 1st. But I will ask again, and once you see the dues, anybody who wants to prepay a few dollars here and there, it's going to be appreciated. Let me talk about rumors. Rumors. Oh, okay. That was a cue, you see. I have to look at my slides. Okay. We don't have rumor. Matter of fact, I just got a rumor that's not up there. Okay. I was told by a board member, so that's a reliable source, right? That Winston Trails bought us. False. Bankruptcy. I've heard that one floating around. Well, we met with Joel Rosenthal, who is a expert. He's a judge, a bankruptcy judge from New York. Boston. I'm sorry, Joel. I knew it wasn't here. And we had a pretty good meeting, pretty good education. We learned a lot. But we also learned it's not an alternative for us. But we're educated. but we did learn. We did talk about it. Next one, a member's buying the club. That started out, I think, because I know I saw Lee here. I met with Lee Rascavar, and I can tell you for a fact that was not one of the things we discussed. But people see you sitting out in the dining room and say, that's what's happening. But what we did discuss, and it could still happen, is Lee had some ideas of getting members to come up with some money, which the Fountains has done in the past, and loan the club the money so we can make it through our hard times. And or if we continue having a problem with the bank. It's an idea that's out there. It's an idea that Lee would still like to lead. But he and I talked about the point, since we don't have to do it yet, it's in our back pocket. So thank you, Lee. Sean heard one. As you all know, his former club was Woodmont in Maryland. Well, he heard one that they're buying our club. Not happening. GL is putting in low-income housing, or the deal is dead. I've heard them both. The pool is dead. We're only going to get $100 a month for the HOA. I can tell you that Paul and I have been in constant contact with GL. We haven't had a face-to-face meeting in a few weeks, which we hopefully will have end of this week or next week. But nothing has changed in the contract. We just gave him a 30-day extension because we needed it. We're the ones holding up the deal. Why? We need to build a lake. We need to build a lake. We need to get the permits. One more permit, which the bank actually signed off on today. So it will be submitted by the end of the week. That's the final permit, which will then take 2 to 3 weeks, if everything's correct. This permit has been submitted 3 times. First time it was rejected because Ron Hoffman's name was typed on the permit, and I was supposed to sign it. So at the notary's office, the notary crossed Ron's name off. We printed my name on it. I then signed it. Palm Beach County rejected it because we crossed out Ron's name. Number 1. So we went ahead and got a second one done. I understand every time we do it, I got to sign it, go to the bank, get it notarized. We have to send it to our bank. They have to get it notarized. So it always takes a week. The second time it got rejected because we typed in there, the Fountains Country Club. We're Fountains Country Club. So they rejected it because the word the was in there. So now we have submitted it a third time. And hopefully this time will be accepted. That's the fun we go